Hello, welcome to the team performance assessment by Ben. And I just wanted to say before I got into the questions that I was so proud of how my team performed. I was really happy with the work everyone put in. I felt like everyone valued everyone else's experience and time in the team. So that was really great. There honestly was not too much about the system I would change. So I just wanted to get that out of the way beforehand. So into the questions. So did we discuss the patient or the person? And I think in our team we did a really good job of doing both because we looked at it from the healthcare perspective as well as the perspective of the person in that situation. So we looked at them from a couple different perspectives of like someone who is familiar with the healthcare field and someone who is not, and how that would affect like their situation and their knowledge of what was going on in the situation. Obviously, as members of people either pursuing a healthcare profession or people already out in the workforce, we have a vast difference in experience from the individuals that would be in these situations. So we try to take into account, okay, if we didn't know how the system works, what disadvantage would you be at in these situations? So I think that we really tried to do a little bit of both. And for did we place a family member or ourselves or someone we cared about in that situation, we absolutely did. Like I said, we already tried to kind of self-insert and say, okay, what is someone who's familiar with this type of healthcare? What would their perspective be? What would someone who has no idea or is kind of out of the loop, how would that perspective be? If our family member was in this situation, what would we step in and do? Or what would be even not even the patient, like if we were that healthcare provider, what would we have done differently to avoid that situation? So I think we did a good job of doing that. On to C for participation. Yes, I really tried to participate in the situations. I felt that I was a more vocal member, which we had 3 very vocal members and 1 member who participated but was not as kind of type A, so I felt kind of bad we ran over them a little bit, but they still participated whenever we needed them to and brought some good insight. So did I use my voice when I disagreed with a team member? I believe I did, and the strategy I use when I'm at a disagreement with someone is that I ask them, I first of all state what I like about their point or opinion. I say, hey, I like this. Now with this, how did you come to that conclusion? Like, what did you use to come to that conclusion? And that way it kind of insulates me from, oh, I'm wrong here because I've made a thinking error, that when they explain their situation, that could bring me to the conclusion of, oh, I'm the one who's thinking about this incorrectly. Or when they go into that explanation, I can, instead of attacking what they say or the person themselves, I can say, oh, that's interesting because when I was thinking about this, I thought of this differently. And people tend to react to that a lot better of, oh, well, I don't like that, here's what I think. And I think that's a good way to like avoid conflict there, because it's not a conflict, it's just a conversation about, oh, this is the process of what I was thinking. It depersonalizes a little bit. So what value did you bring to my team? Was I a green zone chicken or a red zone chicken? I really tried to be a green zone chicken because all the other members of our group were working full time, so I tried to step up whenever I could to try and finish assignments or turn things in and get as much done as I could, just because I have a little bit more free time. And I'm very understanding of people working full-time to put themselves through school or working full-time to come back and get another degree. That's something I really respect, so I was trying to help out and help with that as much as I could. What areas could we improve our team efficiency? I think our communication was great. Our time management had to be great because their schedules were so short that to finding times for meetings was difficult, but we managed around it. I think the big thing for us was inclusion, where everyone was included, but like I said, we had 3 members who were super ready, they were chomping at the bit, they wanted to get their information out there, and another member who was a little bit more timid, so by the time they finally felt comfortable, like being able to raise their point, we had already discussed the issue into the ground. So I think that in a future team, I'm going to be more cognizant of, okay, why don't we let this individual speak first if they're comfortable, so that way we don't expend all the time or things to talk about in this situation, and allow them to a little bit more actively participate in. So we got better with that the second week, I think, than the first week. And then what do I need to change about my attitudes, expectations, or values to feel better about learning? Here, I think I've come definitely a long way since I've come to college, and I've been exposed to so many more experiences, situations, unique values, things like that. But the one thing I still need to work on is continuing to think through situations from the perspective of someone who maybe hasn't had as much exposure to medical fields as me, because I sit and think, like, how could you let that happen, or how would you, like, in this situation, either the healthcare providers or even the families of patients and stuff, like, how would you not figure this out? Like, because I come from an area of such privilege of, I grew up in a family with medical professionals. They taught me since I was little, hey, when you go to the doctor, you've got to be cognizant of these things. You've got to ask questions, because maybe not everyone else is paying attention as much as they need to be, or even they're just having a bad day. We're all people. We make mistakes. That's been like one of the running themes of my reflections this semester, is that because healthcare is important, we tend to try and make healthcare people computers who only make right outcomes. You can do your best, but you're always going to make a mistake. So being aware of that. And it took me a while to depersonalize and maybe say, okay, not everyone had that experience. Not everyone has had people there to tell them, hey, you got to be on the ball when stuff like this comes up. So I think that's something I could continue to work on. And that concludes my questions. Once again, I would like to thank my group for being amazing and bringing so many perspectives to the table, things like that. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.